let go. Welcome to the channel, welcome to the channel. Let's talk. Welcome to the channel, welcome to the channel. Let's talk. Welcome to the channel, welcome to the channel. Let's talk. Hit the like, share, and subscribe. Let's talk. Welcome to the channel, welcome to the channel. Let's talk. Welcome to the channel, welcome to the channel. Let's talk. Welcome to the channel, welcome to the channel. Let's talk. Hit the like, share, and subscribe. Let's talk.
Good morning, everybody. You are now tuned in to Let's Talk with Carolina David, and I am Carolina David. All right, listen. I just seen an interview today, well, this morning, where a few brothers from, well, they called it a hood or whatever. Um, and as I was listening at them talk, it just resonated with me that a lot of us, when I say us, I mean us as black people, as excuse me, as people of color. A lot of us are so content with where we are to the point where we don't want to make a move unless somebody else do it for us. Every time I turn around, you always hear a brother or a sister say, "Man, the government, man, it's systematic oppression." You know what I'm saying? They do things to keep us in oppression. They do things to keep us in poverty. And I'm just sitting here thinking, I'm like, you know what? Why do we feel as such? When every time you turn around, you see brothers and sisters that put up on social media that they just got a new house. When you see brothers and sisters that say that I just started my own business, when you see them do these things, like, why do we feel as though the system is trying to oppress us when it's not that? The oppression is because it's within your mind. Just because you don't want to get out and step out and go and try to do something on your own, that don't mean that you're being oppressed. You got people. I had once had a friend that used to say, "Man, these banks, they'll keep you from getting a loan." You know what I'm saying? They do anything in their power to shut you out. But I'm like, so you mean to tell me that every bank out there denies the loan, denies loan to black people? No, they let some people get it. You know what I'm saying? They let some people get loans and stuff like that. I'm like, but if they let some get it, then why not all? And then he brought up the fact of I think it's Capital One or something like that, banking, where they was denying loans to black people. I'm like, but that's not the only bank, bro. There's more banks out here than just that. Matter of fact, you even have black owned banks, bro. You got banks that are black owned. So how can you sit here and say that we are oppressed when we got our own banks? It's just that we don't bank with them because we don't. They're not within our uh, town or neighboring city or whatever. We got to stop being so content, because if you think about it, that is just you being content with where you are. Because if you wasn't content, you wouldn't be sitting here making up every excuse in the book to not be able to do something. When somebody come up with the idea of like, "Hey man, you know what? We as black, you can go to like your hometown or whatever. You know that these people can cook. Like, yo man, you should open up your own restaurant." Nah, I ain't gonna do that because you already know that that taxes. You know what I'm saying? Taxes gonna bust in your head. Or they might be like, "Man, nah, cause they ain't nobody gonna want to come in and eat at a black person restaurant or whatever or something like that." But then when you see other brothers out here and sisters out here, they have their own restaurant, man. Or you see people that are in the hood, like these young guys was like, "Oh man, you know what I'm saying? We want to get out, you know what I'm saying, but it's so hard to get out." How is it hard? If you sitting here, you selling drugs, and you bringing in money. You say you got money. You flossing and flaunting your money. How is it hard for you to get out? If you can hold a stack of bands in your hand, that right there can get you out of the hood right there. But what it is, you don't want to leave the hood. Why? Because they have a saying that uh if you can't you're not supposed to leave the hood. Like you a sellout if you leave. But if you stay, you ain't doing nothing but hindering yourself. We need to stop making excuses. Because in all realness, it pisses me off because it lets me know that we have a weak mentality. We expect the government to do things for us. Right now, you have people that voted for in presidency, that voted for Biden and so on and so forth, just because they say that they're going to give uh, government assistance, like increased government assistance or something like that. So you basically saying that you want a handout instead of a hand up. You want a handout instead of a hand up. You giving me food or whatever, Medicaid and whatnot, is not helping me. It's hindering me. Why? Because now that same mentality that you see from your mother, I can't say father because like it's rare that fathers even get Medicaid and all that stuff. But that same mentality that you see your mother do, getting food stamps, Section 8, and so on and so forth, is gonna pass down to the children of like, well, shoot, I'm gonna have kids too, so I can go and get me some Section 8 and government assistance. I actually know some people, some women that actually did that just so they can get government assistance, so they can get money from the government instead of going to college, instead of taking your craft. Like I know women right now from my hometown, man, that could do hair like no other. But instead of them going to cosmetology school and getting certified to do it, they'd rather do it within their house. Why? So that they won't get taxed or whatever on their dollar. They'd rather get money under the table and continue to get government assistance instead of going to do something better in their life. Why are we so content with where we are? A lot of us in the hood and in the ghetto don't want to leave the hood or the ghetto because they're content with where they are. That's why you don't hear too many people complain about the violence within our neighborhoods, within our communities, because they're used to it. You got there has been quite a few deaths right now of rappers. Rapper King Von and quite a few rappers got shot down and gunned down in our community, and there's no outrage, no outcry. But let a black man get gunned down by a white police officer in that same community. You'll see them out there. No justice, no peace. We need to do better. Stop being content with where you are and start seeking better in our community. Let's start protesting in our communities. People's rights, people reform. Let's start protesting in our communities that fathers need to be in these households. Let's start doing things like that to establish ourselves back in right standing with ourselves. But anyway, I love y'all. Have a blessed one. Peace.